Hello everyone and welcome back to Next Gen Gaming SC for round 3 of the Baltimore 2K here at SCG CON Baltimore. Round 3 feature match, Boba Green versus Qi'ra Green. Both decks running Energy Conversion Lab for the base. We've got Sam Derrick on the left piloting Boba and John Tatta on the right piloting Qi'ra. Both of these players off to a great start, winning their first couple matches and looking to keep the momentum rolling here in round 3. John starting things out here in round 1 with Inferno 4. One card back on top, one card to the bottom off the win plate ability, and then Sam responds with a space unit of his own, Cartel Spacer. John will hold on to the initiative and we move on to the next round. This is a pretty tough matchup for Boba. Blue-green villainy in general is a tough match for Boba, and Qi'ra, one of the better leaders from Shadows of the Galaxy, has that potential to flip and take out Boba Fett leader unit on the very next action. So Sam will need to try and get as much mileage as he can out of his Boba in this match. To start out here in round 2, John trading some damage with the space units. Inferno 4, 2 damage into Cartel Spacer, taking 2 damage back. Sam, 2 damage to John's base with the Cartel Spacer. John ramping up to 4 resources with resupply, and then the first ground unit being played here in game 1. Greedo on Sam's side of the table. And once again, John holding on to the initiative. John will be able to go up to 5 resources here in round 3. He does have the initiative, and given that he put 2 damage quickly on the Cartel Spacer last round, he's probably going to make that trade. He does right away. Cartel Spacer and Inferno 4 both defeated. And once again, off of the Inferno 4 trigger, the when defeated trigger, John looking at the top 2 cards, keeping one on top, putting one on the bottom. And then Greedo comes across the board. 3 damage to John's base. That's 5 damage in total. Now the action back over to John. No units on the board. He does have 5 resources ready. And it looks like he is holding Rook in his hand. That may be the play in this spot. Rook coming into play. And now the action back over to Sam. Still has 4 ready resources. Neither player has used the epic action on Energy Conversion Lab at this point of the game. Sam is going to play Waylay, returning Rook back to John's hand, readying a resource off of the Boba Fett ability. John claiming the initiative. Sam just passes. Unfortunately, did not have another cheap unit to put on the board. And this is where things get a little bit interesting. Sam up to 5 resources. He can deploy Boba this turn, but he needs to try and get Boba to stick on the board as long as possible. First action of the round, John will play Make an Opening. That is going to defeat Greedo and heal 2 damage from John's base. And now the action back over to Sam. John does still have 3 ready resources, which means Power of the Dark Side is live. Sam is going to deploy Boba Fett right into Power of the Dark Side. John taking out Boba Fett right away. And he did not have to deploy Qi'ra to do it. Now the action over to Sam. He will play Forlom into the ground arena. John will claim the initiative, and Sam will pass. What a round for John, able to clear Greedo off the board and immediately defeat Boba Fett. That is one thing you have to be so careful about when playing blue villainy. Power of the dark side, so good against leaders. And the first action of the next round for John. Here comes Darth Vader. John will look at the top 10 cards of his deck and be able to play any number of villainy units with combined cost 3 or less. And it is a very solid hit off of the Darth Vader when played ability, getting Pike Sentinel and Hilo Bond Enforcer. Vader will ambush and defeat Forlom. And just like that, Sam has no units on the board, and John, a massive ground arena. Out of nowhere, Darth Vader, Pike Sentinel, Hilo Bond Enforcer. And John will be able to start putting on some real pressure next round. Sam is going to respond with Bosk, ambushing and defeating the Sentinel unit. 2 damage back onto Bosk, and now the action back over to John. He does not have any ready resources, but remember, he has not deployed Qi'ra yet here in game 1. That is still an option, though don't really see that being super beneficial here. John probably just going to claim the initiative. And John does claim the initiative. And Sam will pass. We move on to the next round. John has held the initiative for the entire time so far here in game 1. John will take the first action once again. Neither player has used the energy conversion lab. And John is going to start things out with Power of the Dark Side. The second Power of the Dark Side we have seen here in game 1. Bosk is defeated. And John has once again taken care of Sam's board. Sam left with no units. And you know that this is not the plan Sam had going into this game 1. Here at 7 resources, no units on the board, and only 3 damage on John's base. One thing that would help Boba in this matchup is being able to apply a lot of pressure in the space arena, but Sam has not been able to do that up to this point. With Sam's first action of the round, he will play Maul. That is going to ambush and defeat the Hilo Bond Enforcer. Just 1 damage back on Maul. That does leave Darth Vader in the ground arena. Vader could attack into and trade with Maul. But John does still have 5 ready resources. And John does not want to trade. He is going to play Overwhelming Barrage. That is going to give Darth Vader +2/+2, dealing 7 damage to Maul, defeating Maul. And here comes Vader across the board for 7 into Sam's base. And just like that, John is ahead in the damage race. 7 damage on Sam's base, 6 damage on John's base. And for the first time here in game 1, Sam has the initiative. Sam once again, no units on the board. Staring down a Darth Vader in the ground arena. And John still has the opportunity to deploy Qi'ra at any point and apply more pressure. Although John likely holding on to Qi'ra to set up removal. Sam's first action of the round, Energy Conversion Lab, Epic Action is used. Playing Greedo off of the Epic Action, ambushing into Darth Vader, both units defeated, and Sam gets that resource back ready off of the Boba Fett ability. John passes in this spot. And Sam plays a Consortium Star Viper into the Space Arena. And John with a big response. Here comes Avenger. The Star Destroyer into the Space Arena, defeating the Star Viper. And that unit going to be a big problem for Sam moving forward. Sam going to play a Boba Fett in the ground arena. John quickly claiming the initiative. And that's going to do it for the round. And I do not see an answer in Sam's hand for the Avenger. Sam is holding on to an overwhelming barrage, Fett's Fire Spray, and another Boba Fett. And none of those cards answer the Avenger. John's first action, 8 damage to Sam's base with Avenger, defeating Boba Fett. And once again, an empty board for Sam. Fett's Fire Spray coming into play. Sam needs to try and get another unit to stick to the board so that the Avenger doesn't continue to clear Sam's board with each attack. John will play Overwhelming Barrage, and that will defeat Fett's Fire Spray, and Sam will scoop it up here in Game 1. John off to the early lead here in Round 3 at SCG CON Baltimore. The players are ready for Game 2 here in Round 3 of the Baltimore 2K. Sam Derrick versus John Tatta. Boba Green versus Qi'ra Green. John was able to take Game 1 off the back of a very well-timed Power of the Dark Side that defeated Boba Fett. A super swingy Darth Vader that brought John from no units on the board to 3 units in the ground arena. And then the Avenger coming in the late game and really sealing the deal for John. Sam will start us out with the initiative here in Game 2. And we see Greedo into the ground arena. And for the second straight game, John starts things out with an Inferno 4 into the Space Arena. And John is going to keep both of those top cards right where they sit on top of the deck. Sam able to hold on to the initiative. And we will head into Round 2. Sam was not able to go wide in the first game by presenting multiple threats. He had a couple opportunities where there were multiple resources still available, but just did not have the cheap units in his hand. So to start things out in Round 2, 3 damage to John's base with Greedo. And then John uses the Epic Action on Energy Conversion Lab to play Super Laser Technician and ambush Greedo. Both units defeated. John gets an extra resource off of the Technician. And then Sam will follow up with his own Super Laser Technician. John claiming the initiative, and we will head to Round 3. So John using the energy conversion lab for the first time here in round 3. He did not use energy conversion lab in game 1. He also did not deploy Qi'ra in game 1. John will have the first action. The Super Laser Technician in the ground arena probably doesn't worry John quite as much, as John is already up to 5 resources and can deploy and trade with Boba if needed. Inferno 4 does attack into Sam's base for 2 damage. And Sam is going to play another unit into the ground arena, Boba Fett. And John with a quick response for Boba. Takedown will defeat Boba Fett. And now Sam, with his one last ready resource, will play another Greedo. So Sam continually trying to apply pressure in the ground arena. John is going to use the action ability on Qi'ra, dealing 2 damage to the Inferno 4 and giving it a shield. Sam is going to attack John's base for 2 damage with the Super Laser Technician, putting the damage total on John's base to 5. John will claim the initiative, and we move on to the next round. And for the second straight game here at the start of round 4, Sam on 5 resources and John will be on 6 resources. Now this is the Boba flip turn. In game 1, Sam walked Boba right into Power of the Dark Side. We will see if he can have a more successful Boba deployment here in game 2. Sam does have multiple units in the ground arena to start here in this round, so that certainly reduces the risk of Boba being hit by Power of the Dark Side. John playing Pike Sentinel into the ground arena, trying to slow things up a little bit for Sam. The action is on Sam. He has yet to deploy Boba Fett, so a potential line in this spot for Sam would be deploy Boba, try and bait John into deploying Qi'ra right away for the potential trade, and then Sam could play Overwhelming Barrage, which would defeat Qi'ra and keep Boba on the board. And the longer that Boba Fett stays on the board, the greater chance Sam has of winning this game. And Sam is going to smuggle in a Bazine Natal. Bazine comes in from the sideboard. For those interested in the deck list, both links to these decks will be posted down in the description below. And with Bazine, Sam is going to have John discard the Avenger. That is a great hit off of Bazine. And now the action will be back over to John. This time, Sam able to go wide here in game 2. He now has multiple units in the ground arena, and that's what Sam needs to do. He needs to try and keep multiple units on the board whenever he can. John once again taking advantage of Qi'ra's action ability, dealing 2 damage and putting a shield token onto the Pike Sentinel, so that is going to make things a bit tougher for Sam to get through to John's base. With just one resource left open for Sam, Sam is likely going to need 2 attacks or 2 actions to take out the Pike Sentinel. And now with John's next action, he is going to play a Death Trooper. Death Trooper coming into play, defeating Greedo. And 2 damage back onto the Death Trooper. John starting to slowly dwindle down Sam's ground arena. Sam is going to attack into the Pike Sentinel with Super Laser Technician. That is going to remove the shield. Super Laser Technician defeated. And Sam does get an extra ready resource, up to 6 resources now with 2 ready. And here comes Qi'ra. Qi'ra is deployed. That is actually going to heal 1 damage off of both the Pike Sentinel and Death Trooper. They both had 2 damage on, so the damage is healed and then 1 damage put on.
She does also take damage.
Inferno 4 back to no damage on as well, but no shield token. And Boba Fett with 3 damage.
Oh, sorry, you have a stun. Yeah.
Boba Fett attacking into the Pike Sentinel,
No choice.
taking 2 damage back. And that does allow Sam to ready 2 resources off of Boba Fett's ability. When Boba Fett completes an attack and an enemy unit left play during this phase, that allows Sam to ready 2 resources. And now the action back over to John. No resources available for John, but he does have Inferno 4 and Qi'ra ready. Inferno 4, 2 damage into Sam's base, putting the total up to 4 damage. And now the action back on Sam. Sam just claiming the initiative. Does not appear to have another unit that he can put down onto the table. And now John just has to decide what to do with Qi'ra. He could attack and put some pressure on Sam's base, trade with Boba, or take out Bazine. And it looks like he will attack and defeat Bazine. That will put 1 more damage back onto Qi'ra. 5 damage in total, and with the grit, will bring Kira's power up to 5. Sam will start the round with the initiative. And at the moment, John has the board control. 3 units on the board, including Qi'ra for John and just Boba Fett, leader unit on Sam's side of the table. One thing that Sam does still have available is the Energy Conversion Lab epic action. John has already used up his epic action. In this spot, Sam has to figure out the best thing to do with Boba Fett, knowing that John has an answer, multiple answers on the board that can immediately take out Boba. So Sam has to decide to potentially trade with Qi'ra, or does Sam be aggressive, go for more damage to the base? And Sam going to be aggressive. Boba Fett, 4 damage into John's base, putting the damage total up to 9. And now the action back over to John. John going to be aggressive with his leader unit as well. Qi'ra, 5 damage to Sam's base, and we are tied up in the damage race, 9 damage apiece on each base. And Sam will play Darth Vader. This will certainly swing the momentum over to Sam's side of the board. We'll see if Sam can have a successful hit off of Darth Vader's win plate ability, just as John did in the first game. There are several options. It looked like he had a couple space units that he could play. Also another Bazine. So there is the second Bazine Natal of game 2. And he is going to get a pretty big hit off of that Bazine. We see the client, Power of the Dark Side, and Supreme Leader Snoke. And you've got to imagine that Snoke is about to find himself in the discard pile. Bazine will have none of it. Darth Vader will ambush and defeat the Death Trooper. 3 damage back onto Darth Vader. And now the action back over to John. He has yet to use any resources in this round. The third card in his hand at this point is Vigilance, as Bazine does discard one of your cards, but then you get to replace that card. You draw a card after the discard, so Vigilance replaces Snoke. And that is what John will play. Vigilance is going to defeat Boba Fett and heal 5 damage from John's base back down to just 4 damage on. So Vigilance swinging some of that momentum that Sam just picked up right back over to John. Sam does claim the initiative, and John will attack Sam's base for 2 with the Inferno 4. And that will do it for the round. Pretty big plays on both sides of the table. We saw Darth Vader get Bazine and discard the Supreme Leader Snoke, but John dealing 7 damage to Sam's base and taking out Boba Fett, while healing 5 damage in the process. Sam will have the first action. He has Darth Vader and Bazine Natal in the ground arena. Both players up to 8 resources. And Sam is going to pay 5 for Overwhelming Barrage, and that is a big-time play for Sam. That is going to clean up John's side of the board, defeating both Inferno 4 and Qi'ra. And Darth Vader getting +2/+2 for the phase. John is going to respond with Power of the Dark Side, and without a doubt, Sam defeating Bazine. Sam attacks John's base for 7 damage with Darth Vader. That ties things back up in the damage race, 11 damage on each base. And John playing another copy of Power of the Dark Side, and Vader has been consumed by the Dark Side. Sam just claiming the initiative, and that's going to do it for an action-packed round. Both boards are empty. No units in play, and 11 damage on each base. Sam will start us out with the first action of this round. And Sam will start with the third copy of Bazine Natal, this time discarding
Good one,
Avenger.
Scott,
And for the second time here in game 2, Bazine Natal taking out Avenger before it ever sees play. John does have a pretty strong follow-up to Bazine with Darth Vader. John had a great hit off of Darth Vader in the first game, finding Hilo Bond Enforcer and the Pike Sentinel. This time around, it is just going to be an Inferno 4. John will be able to look at the top 2 cards of his deck. He is going to put both of those cards onto the bottom. And then Darth Vader will ambush and defeat Bazine. Now the action is on Sam. Sam holding on to a Fetz Fire Spray and Overwhelming Barrage. I can't quite tell what the third card is in his hand. John has taken back control of the board. The Fetz Fire Spray could put John up to 16 damage on, but there might be a better option for Sam, and Sam is going to use the Energy Conversion Lab. And he's going to play Zuckuss off of Energy Conversion Lab. That's a great play. Zuckuss ambushing into Darth Vader, defeating Vader, and Zuckuss staying on the board with 5 damage. And that is a very large threat in the ground arena that John will need to produce an answer for. John does have the initiative to start this next round, and it looks like he is holding on to several answers. Super Laser Blast, Overwhelming Barrage, and Vigilance in hand. So John could play the Vigilance or the Overwhelming Barrage here. He's going to play Overwhelming Barrage. That is going to deal 4 total damage to Zuckuss. Inferno 4 +2/+2 for the phase. And Zuckuss off the board. And here comes that Fetz Fire Spray that Sam has been holding on to. The Inferno 4 is going to attack into Fetz Fire Spray. 4 damage on the Fire Spray, which is a very nice play for John because that sets up Vigilance being able to defeat Fire Spray next round. Sam attacks John's base for 5 damage with the Fire Spray, putting the damage total up to 16. John claims the initiative, and another important card in this matchup for Sam that came out of the sideboard for Game 2, Lurking TIE Phantom, coming out into the Space Arena, can be a real problem for these control decks. John does not currently have a unit in the Space Arena to fight it. So John will need a space unit or a way to subtract the TIE Phantom's HP. And he found a Palpatine's Return off the top. He is going to get the Supreme Leader Snoke, and that's going to defeat both the Fire Spray and the TIE Phantom. That is an absolutely epic play for John.
Not the worst.
An absolute gem of a draw for John off the top, finding the Palpatine's Return. And the old saying, just what the doctor ordered, is extremely fitting here, as John did not have the answer for the TIE Phantom, and that was going to start doing some very real damage very quickly. So Sam's board wiped. He follows it up with a Cartel Spacer, but the momentum has swung to John without a doubt. Following the cartel spacer from Sam, John is going to use the action ability from Qi'ra, dealing 2 damage to Snoke and giving Snoke a shield token. Sam needs to find a way to answer Snoke quickly, or Sam could find himself losing this match here in Game 2. Sam plays Forlom. That is going to ambush into Snoke, taking out the shield token. Forlom is defeated. John will hold on to the initiative. What a round for John, being able to clean up the space arena that Sam had. So first action of the round, a quick 6 damage to Sam's base with Supreme Leader Snoke, putting the damage total on Sam's base up to 17. And once again, Sam needs an answer for Snoke. Has he found an answer? Here comes Maul. That is going to be the answer he needed. Maul with -2/-2, still attacking for 5. That is enough to defeat Snoke. And Sam has the damage put onto another Underworld unit, the Cartel Spacer. So Maul will remain on the board with no damage. So after Snoke defeated, John is going to respond by defeating Maul. Rivals fall, taking out Maul with no problem. Sam will claim the initiative. John plays a Pike Sentinel and will give it a shield token and a couple damage off of Qi'ra's action ability. What a game this has been. John cruised to victory in Game 1, but Sam doing everything he can to keep this match going. And he is going to start out with Darth Vader. Another strong play for Sam. And now that we know Sam has the option of lurking TIE Phantom, can he find one off of the Darth Vader? That would be pretty good in this spot. And Sam has done it. He has found it. Lurking TIE Phantom back into the space arena. Sam presenting another great threat. Vader does ambush into the Pike Sentinel. So the Sentinel has his shield taken away. 2 damage back onto Vader. And this time around, John does have a response in the space arena. Black Sun Starfighter, a Sentinel unit, into the space arena. Sam just claiming the initiative. John will attack Sam's base for 2 damage with the Pike Sentinel, putting the damage total up to 19. And John will play another threat into the ground arena. Gideon Hask. And now John will use the Qi'ra action ability once again. This time dealing 2 damage and giving a shield token to Gideon. So we move on to the next round. 19 damage on Sam's base, 17 damage on John's base. And we are now closing in on having a 30-minute long Game 2. What a great back and forth game this has been. Sam will take the first action of the round, and we will see if he has an answer to the Black Sun Starfighter, and if he can keep that lurking TIE Phantom on the board. And Sam's got an overwhelming barrage. Overwhelming barrage onto Darth Vader. That is going to defeat the Starfighter, take out the Pike Sentinel, Gideon loses his shield, and that right there is another great play for Sam. And John is presented with a problem. John is staring down a total of 11 damage between Darth Vader and the TIE Phantom. So John has to answer one of the threats. And John is going to play his own copy of Overwhelming Barrage, giving Gideon Hask +2/+2. That is going to defeat Darth Vader. And Gideon Hask also getting an experience token in the process. But Sam with the quick response, no good to me dead, exhausting Gideon, keeping John from attacking with Gideon right away and winning the game. John is going to play Vigilance. Unfortunately for John, the Vigilance cannot defeat the TIE Phantom, but John is going to heal 5 damage from his base. And he is going to discard the top 6 cards from Sam's deck. And now with the action back over to Sam, 4 damage onto John's base with the TIE Phantom. So we've got 19 damage on Sam's base, 16 damage on John's base. John just claims the initiative, and Sam going extremely wide here in the late game, playing a 7th Fleet Defender and Greedo after John claimed the initiative. John does have the first action. Gideon is still exhausted. So John does not have the ability to win here in this round. John does play a Sentinel unit into the ground arena, Pike Sentinel. And Sam is going to attack John's base for 3 with the 7th Fleet Defender. And once again, we are all tied up, 19 damage apiece. John is going to take advantage of the action ability on Qi'ra to deal a couple damage and give a shield token to the Pike Sentinel. And then Sam coming across the board for 4 damage with the lurking TIE Phantom. John up to 23 damage on his base, claims the initiative, and there's a relentless pursuit for Sam that will capture the Pike Sentinel, leaving Greedo wide open to attack and deal fatal damage. Sam has tied it up here in Game 2. We will head to Game 3 in Round 3 of the Baltimore 2K. These two players are set for what should be an exciting Game 3 after we saw a thrilling 30-minute Game 2. Sam able to tie things up in Game 2, force the Game 3. But after that great game, we've got just about 8 minutes left on the clock here in the round. So these players will be forced to play pretty quickly here in Game 3 to avoid a double loss. We see John starting with the initiative, Inferno 4 coming down into the space arena. Sam playing Crafty Smuggler into the ground arena. And here in Round 2, both players trading 2 damage to each base. Super Laser Technician coming down for John in the ground arena, and Sam will play his own Super Laser Technician off of the epic action on Energy Conversion Lab. That is going to allow the Technician on Sam's side to ambush and defeat John's Super Laser Technician. Both players get an extra resource. John retaining the initiative We are moving on to the next round. Both players up to 5 resources. Here in round 3, quick 2 damage to Sam's base with the Inferno 4. Putting the total on Sam's base up to 4 damage. And with the action on Sam, he will send 2 damage across to John's base, putting the total up to 4 as well. And then John playing a resupply. John now up to 6 resources. Sam is going to deploy Boba Fett. And then Qi'ra deployed on the opposite side of the table. The shield removed from Crafty Smuggler. 1 damage to Inferno 4. 3 damage to Boba. And here comes a big play. Overwhelming Barrage will wipe John's board, giving Boba Fett +2/+2. Qi'ra and Inferno 4 defeated. And with the win defeated trigger, John putting one of the top 2 cards on the bottom, leaving the other on top. And Boba Fett
I was doing the math, you know.
attacking into John's base for 6 damage, putting the damage total up to 10 and leaving 2 threats in the ground arena. John, no units on the board, will start with the initiative here in the next round. These players playing very quickly. John with his first action, playing Darth Vader. That is a needed play for John in this spot. The Darth Vader will be able to ambush and defeat Boba. And look at this pull off of the win played ability on Darth Vader. Death Trooper coming into play. 2 damage to Crafty Smuggler, defeating the Smuggler. And then Darth Vader ambushing into Boba Fett, taking 4 damage back. Now Sam has his board wiped, but quickly playing another threat. This time it's Fett's Fire Spray. John claims the initiative. And John will soak up another 5 damage to his base. 15 damage on John's base, just 4 damage on Sam's base. And now just 4 minutes remaining on the clock here in round 3. John with the initiative. He will take the first action. John has control of the ground arena right now. Sam has the space arena in check. John is going to attack Sam's base with Darth Vader. 5 damage onto Sam's base, putting the total up to 9 damage.
Thank you. Thank you.
And now the action over to Sam. He has to respect Power of the Dark Side. Taking out the Fett's Fire Spray. Sam is going to play Cartel Spacer, exhausting Death Trooper. And now the action back over to John. Does John have a way to punish Sam for not attacking with Fett's Fire Spray with his first action of the round? And John is going to play Vigilance, defeating Cartel Spacer, healing 5 damage from his base, putting the total back down to 10 damage. And Sam is going to go ahead and attack with Fett's Fire Spray, putting that 5 damage right back on John's base. 15 damage on. John follows up with a Sentinel unit in the ground arena, the Pike Sentinel. And now the action back on Sam. Still has 4 ready resources. Sam going to play Boba Fett in the ground arena. John claims. And Sam puts yet another threat into the ground arena. Greedo coming down. Again, John able to hold on to the initiative. As we're closing in on the 2-minute mark now, just under 2 minutes to go here in round 3. First action of the round, John playing Supreme Leader Snoke. That will defeat Greedo. And Sam's other 2 units, Boba Fett and Fett's Fire Spray, currently have -2/-2, which means Boba Fett would only attack for 1, Fett's Fire Spray for 3. So now the action over to Sam. Supreme Leader Snoke does create a challenge. Sam will still attack with the Fett's Fire Spray. 3 damage to John's base. 18 damage on John's base now. John does still have 1 ready resource, and he has 3 ready units in the ground arena. Here comes Darth Vader once again. 5 more damage to Sam's base. 14 damage in total. The action back on Sam. He will use 2 resources here. Using the action ability on Fett's Fire Spray, he will exhaust the Death Trooper. That is going to mitigate some of the damage that John would have been able to deal here in this round. So now the action back on John. Again, 1 ready resource. Pike Sentinel ready and can attack. The question is, does John attack with the Sentinel first? He can also use the Qi'ra action ability to give the Pike Sentinel a shield token. And the question right now for John being, does he attack first with the Pike Sentinel? That would leave the Pike Sentinel exhausted, which would allow Boba Fett to attack into it and defeat it with Boba's on-attack ability. But time has been called in the round, so these players will finish this round, and we will play 1 more round after this one. And if neither player has won the match, both players will receive a loss for the round. John does decide to attack Sam's base with the Pike Sentinel. 2 damage, putting Sam's damage total on the base up to 16. And now that time has been called, these players can take a little extra time, think through these plays. They were playing extremely fast up to this point. Sam is going to put a big threat into the ground arena as he plays Zuckuss. John claims the initiative, and then Sam will attack into Pike Sentinel and defeat Pike Sentinel with Boba Fett. Again, Boba Fett having the on-attack ability that allows him to deal 3 damage to the defender if it is exhausted and did not enter play this round. And we are moving on to the final round of Game 3. One of these 2 players must win in this round, or both players will receive a loss. We've got 18 damage on John's base and 16 damage on Sam's base. John will start with the initiative. He's got 2 very large threats in the ground arena with Supreme Leader Snoke and Darth Vader. He also has Death Trooper in the ground arena. And then on the other side of the board, Sam has Zuckuss and Boba Fett in the ground arena with Fett's Fire Spray in the space arena. Once again, Snoke making it very difficult for Sam. Every one of Sam's units currently has -2/-2. And that is making it a challenging situation for Sam. Even with the -2/-2 from Snoke, both players are showing enough damage on board to win this game here in this round. With John's first action, he is going to play Maul. Maul is going to come in and ambush Zuckuss. Zuckuss is just a 4/4, so that is going to be 3 damage to Sam's base from the overwhelm on Maul. So Sam has 19 damage on his base now. And at 19 damage, that means that John can win the game with his next action. from an attack with Supreme Leader Snoke. If Sam cannot deal 7 damage to John's base with this action, he has to have a way to stop Snoke. We see Surprise Strike in Sam's hand, but that would only allow him to deal 6 damage with Fett's Fire Spray, which would be 1 damage shy from winning this game. So with that being said, Sam has to find a way to stop Snoke, but then John could still deal fatal damage between the other 2 units that are ready in the ground arena. What a match this has been, and it looks like it all comes down to this action for Sam. 2 great players have went back and forth in these 3 games. And that is going to do it. There's the handshake. Sam cannot stop the Snoke. John Tatta victorious here with Qi'ra Green in round 3 at SCG CON Baltimore. Thank you to everyone joining me today. Stay tuned for round 4 coverage of the Baltimore 2K. May the force be with you, and until next time, take care.